welcome back to the Heroverse. And guys, I just got done with episode 6 of Obi-Wan, the series finale. Guys, what a crazy series that we had of Obi-Wan. A lot of people, as we all know, had a little bit of problems with this series. Some people didn't like, Reva just for the character, and then there were some people that, just didn't like the fact of, there was lead black woman as one of the main key focuses of the show, and we're attacking Moses Ingram on her Instagram and stuff like that. And, there was people out there that just didn't like the story of what they were telling, and then people didn't think that they were focusing enough on Obi-Wan and, Darth Vader, and also, like, Obi-Wan's, trauma that he's been through, and, a lot of people weren't satisfied, and they had an initial grasp of when the series got announced that, people just wanted fan service and just a lot of, flashbacks of the Clone Wars days, and just people wanted to see a lot of just Hayden Christensen. I mean, hell, my sister was one of the people that wanted to see Hayden Christensen a lot, and I was like, we probably won't get that many flashbacks. They're going to stay in the main time, after those 10 years, and we're just going to be with Obi-Wan. And of course, we had a flashback in the one episode, which I think was last week's episode, with, we had Obi-Wan and Anakin, doing training at the Jedi Temple back in the Attack of the Clones movie. So they gave us that fan service, but only in the fan service sake of that it made sense to the story, and we weren't just getting flashbacks just the hell of getting flashbacks of fan service. Because I'm really glad that they didn't do that, because that's exactly how Boba Fett struggled, because they focused too much on flashbacks. But this shit didn't do that. The show only did flashbacks when it was necessary, and really we only got one flashback, which I was really happy about. On top of, we got technically not one. We got, of course, when Reva, when Obi-Wan found out that she was, one of the younglings at the Jedi Temple, and that's how she knew Anakin, was turned into Darth Vader. That made sense in the story standpoint. I just have been loving this series from start to finish. This series is giving me everything I hoped and dreamed for an Obi-Wan series. Like, this is what I wanted. I had no problem with this series. I'm just so grateful that, we got this series. And literally, people were having problems with, when we did see Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fight after those 10 years, you know what I mean? Or I guess Anakin at the time, but, this is, Obi-Wan's first encounter of running into Anakin, but now as Darth Vader in the first episode, we got them, have their rematch. And it had to go the way where he would have lost because he wasn't connected to the Force. And this show was literally about us seeing the journey of Obi-Wan becoming that Jedi and having confidence again to be that Jedi to do one last mission. And I loved it. I thought they did this beautifully. Like, to get Obi-Wan off to go save Leia, that was a perfect way to get him to get out of his comfort zone and to be the Jedi that he once was, to realize that there is hope again. And I really loved that journey that we went on with Obi-Wan going to save Leia, him being with Leia. And, we start off this episode literally where they are on the transport ship, and Roku pretty much, he's telling Roku, like, because he's trying to fix the hyperdrive, and, that's when, Obi-Wan's like, I gotta get off here, because, if, that way he stops firing at the ship, and that way I can split off, and you guys can get to the place you need to go, but I need you to get, Leia back home safely while I go to do this, and, and just part ways from you guys, so that way Vader and all them don't take you guys out, because literally the ship was at the brink of literally, like, blowing up, because their shields were about to go down. And at this point, like, we had a moment where I thought it was pretty goofy, is that, when he walks out of the door, like, he says bye to Leia, he parts ways, and then he goes to, like, the bay doors. I thought he was leaving, but he ends up sitting there, and then ends up talking to, Roku, and Roku's like, you wanna finish this, you want, it just be you and him, and you want to take him on, meaning, like, he wants to kill him, he wants to finish it. And that's essentially where it's at, though. But I thought it was funny, because when he walks into those bay doors and we think he's leaving, he just sits there. And I thought he had to leave because he said the shields are about to go down, and, that gives Roku enough time to fix the hyperdrive. So I was like, damn, this ship literally should have blown up by now, for how much, Vader is firing on the ship. But, like, when he was sitting down talking to Roku, and, I didn't hear any more firing on the ship, so I thought that was pretty funny. There was a little bit of, like, mishaps there, where it's like he made it sound like that he needs to get up the ship before the ship blows up, so that way he can give Roku enough time to do the hyperdrive. But yeah, he was like, we think he's leaving, but then he's sitting in there, ends up talking to Roku, and we think he just would have left when he walked through the doors, but he ended up just sitting there, to tell Roku that I have to finish this. That's why I'm leaving. Not to like, also to save people, but to also finish this knowing that Vader will follow him and the fleet will follow him to go wherever Obi-Wan's going. And that moment where he's just, I love when he's just outmaneuvering the lasers that they're shooting at him when, Vader's ship is firing upon, Obi-Wan. They're just missing. And I'm like, stormtroopers, they're literally at the helm of firing on Obi-Wan's ship because they can't hit for shit. So I just thought that was funny. But I was like, oh my god, we're really gonna get... Because when we land on the planet and we're about to have, like, the rematch, and mind you, Obi-Wan is Obi-Wan again. They're, like, he is that dude. And that fight sequence where, like, the planet that they landed on, I'm not even quite sure, but that planet was fire. Whatever planet that was on, because you saw the moon in the background, and it just had these big, these big spiky rocks and stuff. It kind of reminded me of whatever planet that they were on in, and what is it? And I think it was Rise of Skywalker, that planet that, of course, Palpatine was on, and Kylo and Rey. It reminded me of that planet. And I'm not quite sure if it was the same planet or not, but it reminded me of that planet just because of the way the lighting was, that like dark blue and everything like that kind of reminded me. And also the rocks and stuff, it reminded me of that planet. I don't think it's the same planet though. But whatever planet that was sick. I'm so glad that, that they didn't put us back on Mustafar. Because it's like, okay, it's like, in a way that would have been too much fan service, and they would be like, how did you get there? So we just landed on the nearest planet as possible, and it just so happened to be this planet. So I really liked how it wasn't going to, the final, like, fight between them both wasn't going to be on Mustafar. It was on a new, total, like, area that I feel like we have seen before, but we haven't seen before, like a new terrain. And it was really cool what they were able to use with this new location, if it is a new location or not, because the moment where literally that, he's like, they're doing the same dialogue that they did in Revenge of the Sith. The moment where literally he's like, I will do what I must. And then he goes like this, and he said, then you will die. Because in Revenge of the Sith, Anakin says, you will try. So I loved that. I thought it was clever how they switched the wordplay around, but it was like they're paying homage to Revenge of the Sith on the battle at Mustafar. I loved it. So the moment where literally they're fighting, and Obi-Wan is giving it his all. Like, this is peak Obi-Wan. Like, no doubt about it. We've seen Obi-Wan dust off his lightsaber. He is that Jedi again. Through the trials of, trying to get Leia to safety, trying to save Leia, and doing all this stuff. He is that dude again. So seeing that fight sequence was badass. When he thinks, Vader has the upper hand on him, and he throws all the boulders on him, I was like, this is fire. And I was like, he's gonna get out of there. We're gonna see some moment where, like, he taps into the Force, and, like, he breaks free because he has something to fight for. He has hope. So seeing that moment where, like, he just blows all that stuff up, and, like, he's doing, like, Jedi hops and shit, running towards Vader, and seeing him just be like, nah, bro, you think you had me dead? You shouldn't have turned around that soon, because I am your master, bro. Let's go. Let's get this. So that was really cool to see that fight sequence go down, and him knowing that I have something to fight for now. I have something to fight for. I am that Jedi. I believe in what I am doing and what I am fighting for. And to see that fight go down was amazing. And to see Obi-Wan have the upper hand and literally picking up boulders and yeeting them at Vader. And Vader's like, like, that was hilarious, because he's putting Anakin back in his place. He's like, you think you're just you think just because you got some robot parts and shit, and you've been, in with the dark side, you think you're better than me? I might have been, dusted off I might have put my lightsaber in the sands of Tatooine, but doesn't mean I can't give it out and dish it out. And he gave it and dished it out. He got his revenge from the way Vader did him dirty when they first had their rematch. Back on, I forget where, I think it was, if I'm correct, I don't know what planet it was, but back on that planet when they first had their rematch. So I just loved it, where, like, he's giving it his all, and he's, like, has the upper hand, Obi-Wan. I loved it. So the one moment I really loved is, because I told everybody this was my theory, that we were gonna see in the final battle between Vader and between Obi-Wan. I said, and this was my theory, we're going to have a moment where it's going to be, to make it even more personal, we're going to have a moment where literally Vader's mask is off in some type of way. He's going to either have his, like, his just lower half on, and we're going to see his face, or there's going to be a moment where, like, it breaks off, kind of like in Rebels when Ahsoka broke it off, and we saw half of his face, and it was kind of going in and out of the robotic voice. That's literally what happens. Literally, Obi-Wan does. He smacks his, like, chest piece, like, where, like, his oxygen is coming from to make his mask work. Ends up just smacking the crap out of it. Ends up breaking it. And so the way that he kind of has to take off the mask, Anakin, like, he has to take that off because that's a source of air, literally. So it's like the moment where he's like, oh, like, he's just struggling to breathe. And you could totally see Vader struggling at that point when when Obi-Wan smacks, like, his source of oxygen. And that was a really cool moment where, like, he literally, like, force flies and smacks, like, a part of, you know, Vader's mask off. And we do see Hayden Christensen on the inside. And it's such, again, a callback to Rebels when Ahsoka ended up slicing off of, you know, half of Darth Vader's mask. And we end up seeing Anakin. And we end up seeing, you know, Anakin's voice coming through, but also seeing, like, you know, we're also hearing Vader. It's like flipping in back and forth because the mask is damaged. And we ended up seeing it, and it was really, like, it was a really sad moment when he's like, you know, he says Anakin, and he sees Anakin, and he's like, I forget exactly what he said, but he's like, you know, he's like, I'm sorry, you know what I mean? I'm sorry for everything that happened. And he's like, you know, I'm not I forget what he said, like, I'm not your failed, I'm not your failure or whatever, you know, I'm the one that, you know, killed Anakin Skywalker and stuff like that. That was just a really sad moment to see Obi-Wan just crying at the fact he sees Anakin. But when Anakin is talking in the mask, it ends up, we see blue on him until he says, I killed him, and then it turns red because that's Vader talking, and it turns red from his lightsaber. I thought that was really cool to flash, like, the good side of what Anakin was, like, is the one that's talking to, you know, Obi-Wan, is that good side, that old Padawan that Obi-Wan once knew is speaking to Obi-Wan in that moment. But when he said, I killed him, and that's Vader talking, and you see the red lightsaber because he's in with the dark side now. It's the dark side talking. That was very clever, you know, camera work and very clever, you know, writing on Deborah Chow's, you know, behalf, if I'm pronouncing her last name right. If I am, great. If I'm not, I'm sorry about that. But literally, that's just great writing and just great, you know, camera work to just show us that without even having to tell us that. That's just great. I loved it. This episode was just so peak. This series is peak. Like, people complain before we, like, and complain about things that, you know, we eventually got. We got flashbacks to Attack of the Clones. It might not have been through the entire series like most people wanted, just to have the sake of just, you know, having, you know, fan service, just, you know, just all, like, it's like there's fan service that makes sense, and then there's just fan service at the sake of just having fan service, and that's initially what a lot of people wanted, just fan service, just to have fan service without even having it to even, you know, to even, you know, do better on the writing. You know what I mean? It's like, it's something that even makes the writing even better is when you get to that, like, when you earn the fan service. But people just wanted fan service at the sake of having fan service. But we had the fan service that we wanted only in the sake of where the story was going and where it really needed to matter. And I loved that about this series, is that we had fan service when it mattered and when it was needed. And that's why, you know, I feel like, you know, like, that's why, you know, some people, you know, was letting the show take its time, letting just the show naturally give us what we wanted. And when people were patient, people got what they wanted because, you know, they knew they knew that fan service was going to happen in the sake of when the fan service was needed in the story. So that's why, you know, I was patient. And then when we finally got, you know, the Hayden Christensen flashback moment to Attack of the Clones, I was patient because I was waiting for that moment, and it happened. I wasn't like, oh, this sucks, this series, because, you know, I didn't get, you know, a whole bunch of flashbacks of Hayden Christensen back in, you know, Attack of the Clones and hell, even like Revenge of the Sith and all that stuff. I'm happy that we got it when it was needed. And I feel like that's why some people, like, and then of course there's people that when they finally got the moment, then they've said, oh, this series is great, which I'm happy if you do, you know, like the series at that moment when you finally get the fan service. But in a way, I feel like, you know, you need to learn how to, you just, you know, stick with the story and not trash it, and then eventually things will happen where fan service is needed. Not just go into something thinking, oh, I just want all these fan service moments, and not looking into not wanting to see a good story and just you wanting to see fan service. So I am happy for the people that did get what they wanted and they got back on the series, liking the series. But it's like, you know, without all the stuff that you didn't like, that then we wouldn't have gotten the fan service moment that was needed. You know what I mean? That's what I'm really trying to say. And I just stuck with it, and we got everything that we wanted. We got the rematch that we've been wanting, that they are on par with each other. Hell, Obi-Wan is so much better than Vader, like a kicking ass. I mean, they both had their moments, but like it shows how Obi-Wan's just the GOAT. I've always thought Obi-Wan was better than Vader. I've always thought that. I always thought that, like, you can't outdo your master. You just can't. He taught you everything you knew. Like, and he's still kicking your ass. I mean, it's like, even you tapped into you're fully dark side now, and he's still kicking your ass now. It just took him a couple of episodes to dust off, that lightsaber and kick your ass, and that's exactly what he did. I just loved it. I thought it was beautiful. And the moment where, like, he walks away and says, you know what I mean? He says, then I guess my friend is lost or is gone. And he ends up walking away, and he says, bye, Vader, or whatever. And he says, Obi-Wan. That was such a beautiful moment, because literally he's like leaving him at the, leaving him at the brink of death again. He essentially is doing that. Not once, but twice. And I just love the moment where, like, Palpatine shows up at the end of this, where Vader's sitting at, in his castle on Mustafar. And we finally see Palpatine talking to Vader, saying, "Oh, you seem upset, Lord Vader." Well, I would be like, because it would have been funny as hell if he said, because I lost twice now, I would have died. But knowing that they wouldn't do that, but I would have died if he said, "Are you kidding me? I lost twice now. That's why I'm upset." Because that's literally where I'm thinking Vader's headspace is right now. He's not. I didn't just lose once. I lost twice. Of course, I'm upset right now, and I'm annoyed, because you could just tell that he just. No matter what, by the end of the story, it literally shows that, Vader, that Anakin is still in there and still feels like he needs to get one over Obi-Wan. That's literally how it is. And he still feels that way after him losing again. He's like, I lost again. I still can't, let that, I can't get over that. I still hold the grudge, because as we all saw in that flashback, and again on its in the flashback to the Jedi Temple and Attack of the Clones in last week's episode, that was like Anakin's flaw, was that he always had to win no matter what. And the fact that, you know what I mean, it's that, and like he was always upset because he let his pride get in the way of everything. It's like, that's why he just cannot let Obi-Wan go, is because he's still not over the fact that he keeps getting beat by him, and he feels like he has to prove something to Obi-Wan, and he still feels that way. And that takes over to when we see their rematch again in New Hope. He feels like he has to still, in a way, he feels like, I feel like at the end of this, I feel like we kind of ended it at the fact where he's like, I'm going to leave everything in the past, because when we do see him again, and they do have their rematch again in New Hope, he said, now I am but the master. I'm the master now. So I have nothing more to learn from you. I'm the master now. Because he said the last time we met, I was a learner, but now I'm the master now. So I love that. So it's like everything is coming to tuition, where we know where everything is leading up to in New Hope and everything. And we see the little Easter eggs there where Leia got her holster from Tala, which I think that's the same holster she uses, I think, in New Hope, if I'm correct. So I thought that was really cool that they kind of put that in there as well. On top of, at the end of this episode, we do get to see Obi-Wan in his traditional Jedi robes again. And, and you can hear it slightly in the background, the music that was played when, Obi-Wan was meeting Anakin at the Jedi Temple, in the flashback, in Attack of the Clones. That you could hear the subtle music of when, he walked into the room to meet up with, with Anakin to train. I love the subtle details, and it's like he's not hiding anymore. He's not that Jedi that's in hiding anymore. He's going to go out and he's going to do things. I loved that. I just love the way we ended the series, and I just love that, that moment where, Obi-Wan is telling Leia about, just the things that she needs to know about her mother and her father. And I just, and what makes her so special. I loved that moment. I thought it was really cute and really cool to really set up that character to where she goes. And you know what I mean? And she just knew enough where things were, that she only knew enough about her mother and father that set up things to how she finally knows that, Vader was her father and stuff like that, and how everything was set to go. So I really do like that a lot. On top of the one moment where, we're flashing back and forth between Obi-Wan and, Vader fighting again, but we're also going to the fact that now Reva is looking for Owen and trying to find the boy that, Owen is protecting. Initially, I think at this moment she now knows, meaning on the fact of what she only heard from that kind of disrupted, hologram message. hearing saying that, oh, if you found out about the boy, I'm gonna go to Tatooine and protect the boy, meaning that she knew right away, okay, that that must be Vader's kid. You know what I mean? She kind of just knew from that because she was able to put everything else together. So initially, she wanted to go there, and I was right. One of my theories was she either want to go there to take Luke, to protect Luke, and take Luke as her own Padawan, so that way Obi-Wan doesn't do the same mistake of making another Vader. So I was like, that's one possibility. My other possibility, she wants revenge on Vader, is going to go kill Luke. That's essentially what she wanted to do. I was saying, shout out to the Lars family, Owen and Beru, because they were kicking ass. She literally, at this moment, Owen's like, okay, we got to get out of here, she's on her way, Reva's on her way, we got to get out of here. But of course, he doesn't really, I think he doesn't really know her name, but he's like, okay, one of the Inquisitors is on their way, we got to get out of here. They were asking about, about us, so they must know about Luke, we got to get out of here. I love how Beru was like, I'm not leaving our home, I knew this day was going to come. And literally, she started pulling out the heavy artillery. She had weapons on weapons inside a wall that was behind, a crate. So, she's like, because Owen was like, damn, we're just farmers. We're you were always packing up for this day. You were always packing the heat. So I loved that. She's like, we're defending our home and we're not leaving. That was badass. So we know who, not even only that, but when Owen stepped up, he was giving Reva a run for her money. Mind you, Reva's injured right now. That's the only reason he had an upper hand on her. But even then, she was able to cut that one big metal piece he was using in half and ended up throwing him off the ledge. So I mean, it's and we knew that they weren't gonna die for the fact that we know they die in New Hope. So I was like, they're not gonna die here. So they might get pushed out of the way. And of course they told Luke, if something happens, run and go hide and just leave. Even though we did see Owen say that the Tuskens are out hunting tonight or whatever. So I was like, okay, that's kind of concerning. Is there gonna be a moment where she's running after Luke and then the Tuskens end up shooting Reva? Is that what's gonna happen? I was like, no, they're not gonna do something like that. I said it's gonna be a moment where it's my also theory was it's gonna be an Obi-Wan versus Maul situation, where we see Maul and Obi-Wan about to have their rematch on in Rebels, but then Obi-Wan gets the best of him, and then Maul finally realizes that, oh my god, you're not just some desert rat, you're actually here protecting someone, you're here protecting the chosen one and stuff like that. So it was kind of a moment like that, but the fact that Reva didn't die, because there was a moment where Luke did fall, and and Reva was about to kill him, but she was having flashbacks to her other flashback of herself laying on the ground, and flashback to Anakin killing her friends, and that she wanted revenge. That's why she did this. But she realized, if I were to do this, I would be no better than Anakin. I would be no better of him turning to the dark side, and this would not be this, and my friends wouldn't want me doing this. This isn't the Jedi way. I can't do this. And we see the moment where she ends up carrying back Luke, and right now Obi-Wan, Beru, and Owen all think Luke is dead at this moment because she's just carrying him. And that was really sad to think that we're in the moment where they think he's dead, and he ends up moving. They're like, okay, he just got knocked out because he fell down a little bit of the mountain, and he's good still. So. But there was a really sad moment when she's she was crying, and it goes Beru and Owen took Luke away, probably took him in the house, and we just see Reva just on her knees crying and saying, I couldn't do it, I couldn't get justice for my friends, and he's like, I'm glad you didn't do it, because that your friends wouldn't want that, you finally gave them peace. And when she picked up her lightsaber, I thought she was gonna take herself out. I was like, oh god, I hope she's not about to do this. But she doesn't. She just throws her lightsaber on the ground, and she gets to move forward with her life. I don't know if that means she's just, leaving the Jedi ways behind of either the dark side or the light side. I don't know. Or maybe she's going to go on a path, and maybe she's just going to leave the Jedi ways behind. I'm not quite sure. Maybe she is a Jedi that has done stuff around the galaxy that we didn't, of course, get to see, in all the other, movies to come, because, again, they didn't make this show, so they just now, made this show. So it's maybe if she's still alive, maybe they could do stuff if they wanted to do stuff with that character, maybe have her pop around, maybe sometime in whatever show that they're going to be making going forward. They possibly could. We could see them, her meet up somewhere with actually probably not. I think she'd probably be, I don't know how old she would be right now. Who knows? But It's I wonder if there's any, what she did after she threw that lightsaber on the ground. If she started helping out people around the galaxy as a Jedi now, she went back to her Jedi ways. And maybe she did, and that was when she threw the dark side, her Sith lightsaber on the ground. That was a way of saying, I'm done with being a Sith. Was she, I don't even know if she ever was, like, technically a Sith. Because, you know what I mean, she only did all this for revenge, but she was initially still a Jedi, but she was rocking the Sith lightsaber, and she was tapping into the dark side. So I guess technically she was a Sith. It's kind of a tough situation. But I wonder if her throwing her red lightsaber on the ground was a way of her saying, like, I want to go back to my Jedi ways, and I'm going to help people around the galaxy, or I'm just done dealing with this. I'm going to move on with my life and just, live a peaceful life. I'm not quite sure. But it just is interesting to me if we'll see anything going forward in, like, Mando or anything like that, where we do see, like, Easter eggs to, like, maybe if they want to dabble on what Reva's been up to or what she did all that time or something. I don't know if they're going to do anything with that character. I don't know, like, really if she would have died by the time we get to, like, Mandalorian and all that. I'm not quite sure. She seemed pretty young, so I don't know how. Probably, I feel like she wouldn't maybe still be alive. Probably not. But I wonder if what she did throughout all that time, into New Hope and, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi and all the stuff we now have now. I wonder if they'll dabble upon that, if they really want to do some more stuff with her character or not. But, yeah, I just think it was a great way to end the series, and just, I'm excited. Like, I'm excited to see. I don't think we'll get a season 2. I don't know if I really even want a season 2. I think we should just end it here. I feel like, we did such a great job. I feel like maybe we should just end it here. But it's Disney. I mean, if they know how successful this has been, they're going to do a season 2. I mean, it's already in talks that, they kind of, like, change their mind halfway through, saying, okay, we might not actually make this a limited series. We might actually do a season 2. So it might be a season 2. I don't know if we should do a season 2 because we left it off so good. But hey, it's Disney. They want to cash in. They're gonna do a season 2. Well, guys, I almost forgot to say, the biggest moment of this is when we finally get to see Qui-Gon, and and Qui-Gon said, like, Obi-Wan says Qui-Gon, and he's like, I've always been here, Obi-Wan. You just needed to want to see me. And I was like, that's awesome. He's always been with Obi-Wan throughout this entire time. He's like, you just weren't ready to see me yet. And now now that all makes sense to where like his training leads to, again, A New Hope, when, he just goes like this and just becomes, Force, just becomes the Force at that point. And, so I really do like how, like, now we're going where everything we do eventually get to see and where everything goes to be. So I thought that was really cool, especially Liam Neeson is so smart in the fact how he's like, he made it sound like, oh, I'm not going to come back unless I'm going to be Qui-Gon in the movie. It was so good to, like, throw us up the trail, but we know this by now by, like, people in Marvel, how they say, oh, I'm not in it, I'm not doing this or whatever, and they end up being in it. So I kind of knew, and we all knew, that Qui-Gon was going to pop up at the end, and probably Liam Neeson was lying just to try to throw us off the trail. But it was very clever that Liam Neeson was like, oh, I'll only come back as Qui-Gon if it's in a movie. It was very smart on his behalf. I thought it was really cool to see Qui-Gon. I feel like that really was the cherry on top, and to know that, Obi-Wan starting his training to where we eventually see him to go in New Hope. So I just loved it. I loved this series, guys. Again, I think it was top-notch, this series. I think this finale was top-notch. It was everything I hoped for. Again, I want to know down in the comments below, what was your favorite episode? I want to know, what was your favorite sequence? I want to know, do you guys want a season 2? I really want to know all that stuff down in the comments below, so let me know down in the comments below. Also, I did, like, my sister filmed me in a lot of, like, my reactions of the episode. I won't be putting up, the picture on the screen of the episode because I don't want to get copyrighted, but, like, we have the audio in the background of me reacting to it. So it will be up probably later throughout the day. I have a lot of things I got to catch up on today, like with, Miss Marvel and Umbrella Academy Season 3 coming out today. I have so much filming I got to do. So that will probably be out either, if not today, tomorrow, my reactions to some parts of the episode, some of the bigger parts of the episode. So look forward to those. They will be up pretty soon, hopefully, if not today, tomorrow. And yeah, guys, again, here, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, post notifications, like this video. I'd love to have you guys here, a part of the fam, a part of the channel. We're all about spreading love, positivity, and motivation. And yet again, guys, we are almost to 600 subscribers right now. We're at 528, almost to 600. I'm really trying to get to 600 before the end of June, even though we're really close to the end of June. And I'm really trying to get to 1,000 before the end of this year, and I know we could do that again with your love and your support. But guys, yet again, that was the video. I hope everybody has a great day, a safe day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.